Hi, it's Taylor T. Carlson, and I'm back with another video for you. Today we're going back to the world of classic retro gaming. I've done several reviews for other retro gaming consoles these last few months or so, but I just realized that I actually missed out on doing a review for the one that really jump-started all of this, and that of course is the NES Classic Edition. When this came out, it took the world by storm, but it wasn't produced in very high numbers, so these went really quickly, and it wasn't long before people were selling them at grossly inflated prices on sites like eBay and Amazon, and even the controllers that were put out in conjunction with the system suffered the same fate. I thought today would be a good day to take a look at this system. I happened to get my hands on one, so here's the actual system itself. It looks just like an NES, just much smaller. Obviously this thing fits in one hand. Power button there turns the system on. Reset goes back to the main menu. Got your controller ports here. These are the same kind of ports that they had on the Wii and Wii U stuff, so you can actually use your Wii U classic controllers and stuff like that on here. The SNES Classic uses the same style of thing, so you can use the NES Classic controller in the SNES and vice versa. Here's the back. You got your HDMI port where you hook this up to the TV. You got your power port there that hooks into the wall. And then I'll just show you the sides and the top and bottom so you can get an idea of what this thing looks like. They really went to a lot of detail to reproduce this in the way that the old NES looked, and I do appreciate that. The little flipper here that opened up on the original system, that's just for decoration here. All the games on here obviously are pre-uploaded, so that's non-functional. It's just aesthetic, but again, I do appreciate the attention to detail. Here's the controller that came with the system. Again, very similar in shape to the original, if not almost 100% identical. I think the stuff that's printed on the back might be a little different, but playing this earlier, and it brought back a lot of memories, and it definitely feels like the old controller, and I've really got no complaints with the actual design of the controller, with one exception, that being this is how long the cord is. This is frustratingly short for anyone who is used to today's modern age of wireless gaming. There are extension cords and wireless solutions available out there. You might want to look into those because otherwise you're going to be sitting really close to the TV, or you're going to have the system really close to you. Another issue I have is that you actually have to get up off your butt and go hit the reset button if you want to go back to the main menu. There's no way to do that on the controller. This is something that Nintendo made a mistake with, but a lot of the other retro console companies actually took the initiative and found their own ways of fixing this. At least it's not as bad as the Japanese version, which, although it included two controllers, they're hardwired to the system and they're just as short, so this is at least detachable and has a few potential solutions. The system also comes with the HDMI cable, the power port, and the AC adapter here. If you look closely, that's actually got the Nintendo logo on it. Kind of hard to see in this light, but there it is. And it also comes with an instruction manual. This is printed in a few different languages. It folds out, and if you flip it over, there's actually a poster here that you can hang up. I actually have another one of these framed hanging up downstairs, so thought this was a nice touch. Unfortunately, you don't get anything like the robot with this system, and it's not compatible with peripherals, obviously. But again, that's just a small complaint in the long run. There are 30 games built into this system. No way to add games, unfortunately, at least not legally. You can hack the system, but again, I don't condone that, and if you do that, you do it at your own risk. I'm not going to get into that on my channel. I've got here the list of games that's included with the system, so I'll go ahead and read these off real quick. Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania 1, Castlevania 2, Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon 2, Dr. Mario, Excite Bike, Final Fantasy, Galaga, Ghosts and Goblins, Gradius, Ice Climbers, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Mario Brothers, Mega Man 2, Metroid, Ninja Gaiden, Pac-Man, Punch-Out!, Star Tropics, Super C, Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, Tecmo Bowl, and Zelda 1 and 2. So 30 games, and it's a pretty eclectic selection. You've got a lot of the NES classic games like the Marios and the Zeldas and Metroid and Punch-Out!. Punch-Out!, of course, is the later edit of the game with Mr. Dream. It doesn't feature the likeness of Mike Tyson for obvious legal reasons. And it's nice to see that there's quite a bit of third-party titles on here as well, including like Castlevania and Super C from Konami. And then from Capcom, of course, you've got Mega Man 2, which is often considered to be the best Mega Man game that was released on the NES. The interface on the system is really easy to scroll through. You can organize the games by different things. And then if you get looking, there's also options for different display modes. And there are a handful of other options on there as well. I'm not going to go into every single thing here, but you do get 4 save states for every game. And that's a huge plus because a lot of these games didn't have a save feature when they were originally released. Like Super Mario Bros. 3, one of my all-time favorite video games, but the NES, unfortunately, didn't have any way of saving on the cartridge. Having the save states on this system finally makes that playable in multiple sittings, so it makes these games a lot more accessible, which is really nice. Now, I don't have a whole lot of complaints with this system. There are going to be the inevitable titles that people wish were included. I'm not going to go too into that here because that might actually be the subject for a later video of mine. But like one of the big omissions is the original Contra. We get Super C instead of Contra, which seems a little weird. And for Castlevania, we get Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, which is easily the weakest of the NES entries because it's basically impossible to complete without a walkthrough and kind of a mess of a game. And we don't get Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, which was by far the best of the 3 on the NES. I mean, there's going to be different opinions there. That's just sort of to be expected. Overall, though, I do think what they did include is actually a pretty good, pretty solid selection of games. Overall, I would give the selection of games a thumbs up, even if I do have a few caveats with the end result. And I had a lot of fun revisiting these games as well. It's great to see not only the classics, but also a few underrated gems as well. Star Tropics, of course, being one of my favorites that never really seems to get talked about or get the proper credit. And unfortunately, we don't also get the sequel, Star Tropics 2 Zoda's Revenge, but again, that's just the way things are. Have you picked up an NES Classic Edition? Were you a fan of the system? Are there things you think could have been done better? Comment down below and let me know if you picked up an NES Classic Edition. Let me know what you think of the game selection, the overall execution, what you liked about the system, what you didn't like. Also, subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos, and like the video if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson, and I will see you in my next video.